I was so not ready for that. That's me. Thank you, Tamara, for picking up my piece of paper that I dropped. So, I'm very nervous, so just bear with me while I try and stop shaking. Thank you. I was very nervous about doing my speech today, and I was being totally avoidant for months. And I had a meltdown yesterday on my bed, in tears, wouldn't lift my face up, and my poor husband Jared and my sister Kelly had to help me start my speech. So I had a big tantrum, and I said, I'm calling Marty, I'm telling her I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. So my biggest fear within New Serity is public speaking. I did hate it, and we all know that this business is all about facing your fears and overcoming them. So if something doesn't scare you, it's probably not worth doing. So our mind and our words we speak are so powerful, and as Marty says, for me to say, is I love public speaking until it becomes a reality. So I love public speaking. So here I am sharing my story with you today in hopes that it inspires and encourages you. There are moments that happen amidst the busyness and the everyday hustle and bustle of life, and when we're given opportunities that have the power to change everything. These moments don't come along every day or even every year, and we can miss them if we are not watchful. They're scary, they cost you lots of time and effort and tears. They may make you second guess yourself. And I know that most of you here could probably say amen to that. Thanks, Chantel. And you may wish that maybe you hadn't taken that chance in the first place. So this is a story about one such moment I took and didn't miss. This is a story about an opportunity that I grabbed with both hands. I jumped in head first. I was scared but excited for the journey that would follow, changing everything in my life. I come from a big, close family, and they mean everything to me. I don't even think they're here yet. That's sad. It was around May 2015 when I received a message from my beautiful cousin, Tamara. She's gone. Saying that she had an opportunity that... Oh, there you are. Saying that she had an opportunity that I might be interested in and she wanted to catch up for coffee. I immediately replied, no coffee, I want to know what it is now. Probably the rudest response she has received. I hate surprises and I'm impatient when it comes to anything that excites me. What Tamara didn't know was that I had been looking and praying for an opportunity to work flexibly so I could be at home with my 10-month-old son, Oliver. I was working 4 days a week in retail to pay off debt and had been doing so since Oliver was only 4 months old. I paid attention to Tamara's message as she had a great career and a business mind. Business runs in our family. Our fathers, uncles and grandfather had owned many successful businesses, so while I struggled academically and didn't complete my university degree, I knew there would be a time where I would do something big that wouldn't require a further education to be successful and change lives. Well, that's what I was telling myself. And it turns out to be true. It was wonderful growing up in my family, but it's not until you start your own that you come to terms with the sacrifice and the heartache that goes into what makes family so very special. I was only 19 when my future husband and I met in 2003. He was singing and playing guitar in church that I had just attended, and my first thought when I saw him was, damn, he's fine. I had never met a guy like him. We became best mates quickly, dated and were engaged within 2 years, then married in 2006 at the age of 21, and we fell pregnant on our honeymoon. Unfortunately, I miscarried late at 18 weeks, which was incredibly traumatic and devastating. Over the next 3 years, there were 3 more miscarriages, and my ill health affected my ability to work. We had 2 cars written off in accidents, and we were falling behind financially. We love helping others, and we had spare bedrooms in a 4x2, which saw 12 different people live with us in our first 3 years of marriage. Not an ideal start for newlyweds. Oh, there they are. Yeah. We then moved into a smaller place, and finally it seemed that things were on the up. I held a solid job in retail management, and Jared had a great job in the district court, working alongside a judge. After living alone for 6 months, we were ready to start trying for a baby again. Little did we know that our world was about to be turned upside down. It was a Monday morning, and Jared had left for work. I had the option to take a rostered day off, and although I felt prompted on 3 separate occasions to get up and go to work, I chose to ignore this prompting as I had big plans of a sleep in and to clean the house. It was approximately 8 a.m. when I heard someone in the house. At first I thought it was Jared back, but quickly realised an intruder had broken in. What then proceeded was a fight for my life. I was bound and held hostage for the next 2 hours, and the unthinkable occurred. This intruder, in his drug-induced psychosis, thought he was following the instructions of a gang who had kidnapped his son. He told me everything he intended to do and warned me that 2 more guys were about to arrive and that they had instructed him to kill me and burn the house down. I could smell the gas on in the house and began to say my goodbyes to my husband and my family. I don't know why I'm smiling, sorry. I strangely felt a nothingness, as though I was already gone. Miraculously, I felt a surge of energy so that I could actively fight. And I prayed that if I was to survive this, I needed the strength to do so. I was in an impossible situation and I needed help. That is when my miracle happened. I felt the same promptings as before, guiding me. And this time, I listened. And I listened closely and I followed them. The intruder became confused and wanted to talk. I was able to have conversation with him, talking him around until he believed I was his ally in his delusional story. I told him that I would accompany him to the police station to help him. Eventually, when I felt the time was right, I told him I was leaving, and he let me walk out. As I opened the door, I felt prompted to say, "I forgive you," which I did. And in the spirit, I wasn't going to share this, but it's coming out, whether I like it or not. In the spirit, when I turned around, I saw a string attaching us both. And when I said the words, "I forgive you," I saw these scissors cut it and it all dropped to the ground. And as I did, he dropped to the ground in tears on my doorstep. I managed to smuggle a phone into my clothing, and while I ran, I called my dad, who's a taxi driver. I saw a little old man sitting in his car, and I ran over and started bashing on his window. I was out of breath. He was out of breath, and tried to tell him what had happened. He shook his head and said no, that I couldn't get in. But I jumped in the car anyway. I locked all his doors as I was being chased by that point. By the time we had arrived at the police station, the guy had turned himself in, calling through a payphone. This incident really shook my family and my friends to the core. We received so much love, emotional and financial support from our church community, and were incredibly blessed during this hard time. 9 months later, we received a letter advising we were going to court. It just so happened that the trial coincided with the worst hailstorm Perth had ever experienced, where most cars got damaged. I was being torn to shreds on the stand by the criminal lawyer, and despite there being a generator, all power miraculously went out, halting proceedings. Perfect timing, and I thanked God, as court was adjourned, and the following day, the lawyer had no further questions and he just sat down in his seat. Despite the opinion of our lawyer and the detectives, the intruder was found guilty on all 5 charges and was imprisoned for 8 years. This all happened 9 years ago. The lead up to his release presented a new set of challenges in my healing journey. But I'm pleased to say that if I was to run into him on the street, I would be okay. My recovery has been a process. However, experiencing such trauma affected my life significantly. I couldn't work in retail, as every man who entered the store caused me to freeze. I couldn't be at home alone or shower alone for some time. We moved in with my parents, then my sister and brother-in-law for extra support. And these guys legitimately had to pretty much babysit me for years every single day. Hang on. I've just mixed my pages up, sorry. Oh, that's right. So my recovery progressed well, though a trauma-specific therapy that led into a season of working in a psychology practice and caring for others in their healing journey. It's so important to know that forgiveness isn't a feeling, it's a decision. And for some, a daily one, but it will set you free. It is about releasing the power of unforgiveness that it holds over you, not the other person, as most of the time, they aren't even aware. My recovery has been a fight every minute of every day to live. I have had to watch my thought patterns, every aspect of my thinking, and fight against fear in a practical and a spiritual manner. I had to relearn how to be alone, all the basics that left me feeling incredibly vulnerable. My hope in sharing this today is to encourage those who have also experienced any form of trauma to seek professional and recommended assistance, as it is possible to overcome fear and whatever life throws at you. I felt that I had been given one of those rare and special life-changing opportunities, and that what I held would not only change my life, but the life of my family as well as others. I had a desire to create financial freedom for my family, retire my parents, and for Jared to be able to pursue his lifelong dream of acting while being able to be a stay-at-home dad with Oliver, which is the case. I had a gut feeling that this was what I was supposed to do and that this would be the beginning of the rest of my life. There are so many people to thank, as ranking Diamond is a community effort. No one can get there alone. So, yeah, sorry. Trying to pick up my paper. So, Tennille, thank you for making Tamara go for a glass of wine. I am forever grateful to you. Tamara, thank you for saying yes and for thinking of me and for having the courage to change your life. You have been an amazing support and encouragement, and I love and appreciate you. To both Eva and Martine, I'm so grateful for your support, for flying to Perth and helping all of us in WA build. Meeting you in person solidified our belief very early on. Martine and Nathan, you guys are incredible mentors and friends. The risks, chances, and sacrifices that you and your children have made have paved the way for us and thousands more. Your constant encouragement and belief in us led to the strengthening of our own self-belief and the belief in this team. Rochelle and Julian, I love you guys. Jared and I would not have gotten through this last season without you. You're a fantastic example of all those around you, so thank you. To Janice and Craig, you have been there for us through it all. You have loved us no matter what these last 10 years and have brought so much healing to our entire family. Janice, you are my spiritual mentor and I love you dearly. To the founders, thank you for who you are and for all that you represent. Listening to you confirmed why we are a part of this amazing company and exactly where we are supposed to be. Connie, Nikki and the team behind the scenes, thank you for your hard work and for putting up with us. We couldn't do what we do without you guys. And to my mum and my dad, None of this would be possible without your unconditional love, support, and looking after your 3 grandchildren. You both instilled in us to always think of others, to put others first, and to love unconditionally. Be wise, yet forgiving. You have both been the best example of servant leadership. And we are able to love others because of knowing who has first loved us. To Terry and Wade, thank you for taking chances you don't like taking and for trusting Kelly and I. And thank you for all of your help with the kids. We love you. Adam, you, my darling, are a legend. You help me constantly with whatever I need. You let me annoy you. And you are all a sister-in-law could ever want for her sister and best friend. Kelly. Kelly is the greatest friend that anyone could ever have. She is always there for me. If I have a problem, it's her problem. If I can't write my speech, she helps me write it. And she just loves unconditionally, doesn't judge. And when I grow up, I want to be just like her. You're a legend, Kelly, and I wouldn't have gotten through the last 10 years without you. Oliver, our little miracle. 8 years waiting for you was more than worth it. Thank you for being you and for making our dreams come true. You are the perfect little housemate, and if you weren't a loving, forgiving, laid-back child who entertained themselves, none of this would be possible. And Mummy loves you and appreciates you. Jared, my darling husband and best friend, from the beginning you have been nothing but supportive. You've never questioned me, the company, or anyone. You never blinked an eye when I said I wanted to do this. You believed in me, encouraged me, and you motivate me, and have become the best living chef for the team and I. You are the most wonderful stay-at-home dad. You do it way better than I do. And I'm so grateful for your unconditional love, support, sense of humour, and your ability to turn my tantrums and meltdowns into moments of fun and laughter. Our journey has not been an easy one, and we have been faced with a lifetime of challenges, yet here we stand, together, stronger than I thought possible. I admire you, adore you, and I want to grow old with you. To all the team, I am standing here because each of you and every one of you, your hard work, your dedication, your commitment and faith does not go unrecognised. You have helped shape and mould me into the person that I am today. I love each and every one of you. You are all family to us. My message, I totally ran out of time. My message and my take home today is if there is anything holding you back or you are hanging on to anything from your past, I encourage you to let it go today. Yes, it may be a process, but you can make the choice to forgive them, forgive yourself, and release the hold it has had on you for far too long. I want each and every one of you to know that you are here for a reason, for such a time as this. We can all overcome, and you have this entire room behind you, cheering you on. We all have your back, and forgiveness and the truth will set you free. Thank you.